Many companies contribute to their communities, but a new corporate form in the United States is allowing businesses to have a social mission as their primary objective. It's called a benefit corporation, and today we'll look at how one works and how it is improving its community.
I'm Kim Clark.
And I'm Pat Werhane.
We go out into the world to look at everything.
Topics such as food deserts, wage theft, and recidivism in jails.
Access to healthcare, education, welfare, major issues we face at home and around the world today.
Come search with us for answers to these issues and more
as we discover new answers to today's big questions.
The goal of capitalism is to generate wealth. The goal of philanthropy is to give money and goods and services away to those in need. Today we're going to present a new model, a for-profit company that makes lots of money and gives all its profits away.
We're a 22-year-old company. We're sitting right now in Oakland, California, which is our corporate headquarters, although we're a national company.
You know, the stuff that goes on in Oakland in terms of, socially responsible organizations is important to me. So the work that we do here, directly impacts that in a positive way. So now I'm able to use my skill set in a different way to help, a company like ours really do things that matter in the community.
When each employee once a year actually goes out to a nonprofit and delivers one of the checks, and I did that this past year. And when we walked in and presented this nonprofit with $5,000, the woman that ran the place just was astounded and started crying and said, "You don't know what this does for us."
16 years, I've had lots of headhunting, and I can't see myself anywhere else primarily because it's rare when you find in a job both your paycheck and your passion. So I always say I must have done something good in a past life because I ended up with a company like this.
I was kind of an accidental business person. Yes. In other words, I came into business just to make a living, and I learned business not thinking that I would ever connect that business skill to some community interest. That was really what my main agenda in life was anyway, ever since college.
What Give Something Back Office Supplies does is we sell to businesses everything a business needs to run their office every day. Anything from office supplies to paper to toner to office furniture, printing, products for the break room, coffee, etc., etc.
There came a point in both of our careers when we wanted to transition into more community-friendly type of work. So I'm shopping for my dinner, and one of the options for my canned spaghetti sauce, my bottled spaghetti sauce, had a big sticker on it that said all profits donated to charity. It didn't cost any more, it tasted good, it had Paul Newman's face on it. So as a consumer, I was faced with this option of buying a product that would satisfy my needs for dinner, but at the same time kind of exercise this community service muscle by having the profits from my purchase go to the community rather than the stockholder. The light bulb went on for me. I said, well, here's a way that business can satisfy the consumer through competition and at the same time benefit the community. So I said, this is a model that would work in the industry that we're experts in. We didn't just wake up one day saying, hey, let's do office supplies. We learned office supplies for 15, 20 years, and then we took that model and we grafted onto it the Newman's Own giving model. Don't forget, we're not giving away the rent. We're not giving away, the payroll. We're giving away the profit. We're giving away what other companies who are competitors are giving away to their stockholders.
We donate our profits every year to amazing nonprofit organizations in our communities that our customers help us choose.
So just to give an example of how the distribution of the profits works, 10% of our sales now happens in our San Diego regional office.
Right.
And I don't know much about what's happening in the San Diego community. I live up in Northern California. So 10% of our profits are going to be distributed to San Diego-based nonprofits chosen by people who live and work in San Diego. So we will send a ballot to all of our San Diego customers. We'll invite them to send that ballot to all their employees. And then they will send their ballot back listing 10 different nonprofit organizations from the list. We'll calculate all the votes. And if 10% of the total votes are for the Women's Cancer Resource Center in Point Loma in San Diego,
Yes.
then they'll get 10% of the profits from that region. And once they get the money, there's no strings attached. So we don't say you can only spend this on, you can't spend this on capital acquisition or we don't put any limits. And because we don't feel we're in a position to judge what the best use of that money in that organization is, we basically think they're the best judge.
The nonprofits actually apply for the funding. So it starts with them applying for funding. We have an online portal on GiveSomethingBack.com, and they apply for it. It is all filtered through a foundation that then vets them and then presents it back to us. And then the executive staff here creates a list of those that will be on this year's ballot, and then we put it out to our customers, and our customers get to vote on who they prefer the funding to go to. And then our employees have a ballot including some of those and additional nonprofits that we can have a say-so from the employee's voice as well. So it really is a multifaceted process.
So our goal is to not allow the rich and the powerful who have access to most of the resources to decide what the community needs, but to go into the community, poll the community and say what are the most important needs, what are the organizations that have proven themselves to the people who live in those communities as being the most effective organizations in addressing those needs, and then pushing the money out according to how those decisions are made.
Based on where I am in my life, to me, like the financial question and the personal values, they line up in that regard. When I look at my team, I've actually hired probably close to 5 people over the past year, and all of them have been attracted to the company because of our giving model and our value proposition. And actually part of our training program for new hires that come to the customer relations team is they have to go volunteer at the food bank for a few hours. So, for us, when we're hiring and looking at applicants, it's about making sure, one, they have the skill set to perform the job, but also that it's the right cultural fit. That they have a really inherent desire to want to be a part of something special. And that's what GSB is, it's something special. When you talk to people about the company, people are like amazed, wow, you guys do what, really? So I feel like, of course, they're happy to get a check. They're happy to have benefits. We all have, livelihoods and, family that we're taking care of. But, the other aspect of it is there's a bit of pride in, the work that they're doing and the fact that they are connected to the community.
We were approached by the food bank, the regional food bank,
Yes.
and they had a problem. They could not, food banks put these big bins all over the community and ask people to put food in
barrels,
it.
yes.
The barrels, right. Well, they didn't have enough people or trucks to pick up the barrels when they were filled.
Oh.
So they came to us and said, well, can you help us? We have trucks all over the Bay Area every day. So when the trucks are coming back, if they happen to be swinging by their route to a Safeway or a Lucky's, and there's 3 barrels there, we have the ability to stop our truck, pick it up, bring it to our dock, and then have the food bank pick 100 barrels up from our dock and instead of having to make 100 different stops. So we had one meeting with them, and then the next day we're picking up barrels all over the Bay Area for the food bank, and it didn't cost us anything. Our drivers are happy to do it because they're participants in the well-being of their community as well. It didn't cost us anything. It saved them all kinds of resources. They don't have to rent trucks to do that anymore, and they can focus more on distributing the food rather than picking it up.
Tell us just a little bit about, this is huge and wonderful. We were sort of overwhelmed when we walked into the front, what you would call
warehouse.
the front door of a warehouse. It's not a small place at all.
No, it's not. We have a 118,000 square foot facility, and we serve about 49,000 people each week, the majority of which are children. We have known Give Something Back since they first started in business. In fact, there was a Thanksgiving when our forklift broke, and we were a much smaller operation at the time. Give Something Back was just gearing up, and they actually gave us the money to buy a new forklift. And that was the start. They were our saviors and great partners. They have this program which is called Paper Equals Food, and so companies that buy paper also can contribute to food banks by having a portion of that purchase price go directly to us.
And they
helps
designate
a
that
lot.
when
Isn't it what, $1 a case or something?
It's $1 a case, which really adds up. I think this year it's been about $26,000 for us, which is a lot of money. And when you think about our food bank and the way we leverage our resources, $1 equals $4 worth of food. So that's $100,000 plus worth of food that we're able to distribute into the community.
You know, to me, when you say thank you, thank you is okay, but I want to go that one step further. I want to let you know
Right.
that I appreciate what you do for us.
So actions are one thing and
That's
words
right.
are another.
That's right. I saw people coming in the store with, in the church with little packages, you know, like when they have certain days, and people be bringing stuff in, you know, donating it. I said, maybe I can do better. Let me go to the store and see where they're getting that from. So, but I had to get a nonprofit first. So I went and put my paperwork in, got a 501c3 nonprofit. And they ask you all kind of questions when you're getting nonprofits. You know, they check your background and make sure you ain't no crook and all this kind of stuff. And so I got my 501c3. I showed it. I give a copy to the grocery store. I said, I have a nonprofit. I don't make any money. I don't sell anything. I give it away. They said, okay, we'll let you come on and get it.
How do people get on the roll, the list?
How do you get on your
How do you
list?
get on your list? Word of mouth?
There's a lady out in Hayward on 167.
Highland Hospital.
In Highland Hospital will call us, right.
They
And so,
refer, a lot of referrals.
right, so she went out there and told a whole bunch of folks. And
Yeah.
they started calling and they said, oh, if you want something, call Pastor Mayfield. He'll bring it to you.
You know, you just tell one or two people, and
Right.
then next you know, they on
Pretty
the
soon they
phone.
got all their
That's
friends.
right.
Everybody's got a
You don't have
friend.
to- you don't even have to broadcast it.
Yeah, but you-
They're gonna
oh,
call
gosh.
you guaranteed to get at least 10 calls a day.
Yeah, at least that.
Clark City race starts around 5 o'clock. sometimes.
Yeah, I do.
It starts at 5
Five.
every morning.
5 every morning.
Every morning.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
I don't do it every morning. Every now and then I'll meet up with
You
him
feel
about
guilty,
8.
so you get up. Otherwise, but not every day.
And he works later than me.
Yeah, well, I know. Well, gosh, that's
We'll
wonderful.
put that extra mile in.
Oh, well.
So what's
Sounds
the,
like a lot of miles in.
what's the benefit for you? All this hard work. What comes to you?
The benefit to me is this. I believe that when you do things, there's a cliche that says, do good for evil. And I know there's a lot of evil personnel in this world.
Yeah.
So when I see somebody out there and I think that they need something, my tuition tells me, go help them.
Yeah.
Let's do something for those who can't do for themselves.
I see the results every day. You know, it's real when you see people lined up, you know, for food and stuff like that. And then you get to meet folks. There's an organization called Ruby's Place in Hayward who was a recipient of a $4,500 check donation from us last year. And they have a women's shelter in Hayward. And what they were able to do with that money was convert a backyard area into a playground, which was huge for kids because, you know, they're coming out of battered situations. They can't go to the park. They can't, you know, there are a lot of things that they can't do. So, you know, we do run across people and it's amazing. It's one of those warm and fuzzy feelings that you get when you hear some of those stories. But it further solidifies, you know, the work that we do.
I started when we were a 25 employee company
And then where were you before that?
at an organization called Youth Employment Partnership, who is probably the largest job training program in Oakland for inner city youth. And we were a very, very big recipient of their generosity.
The Youth Employment Partnership is a large community-based organization in Oakland, and it's based in the flatlands of Oakland, some of the most challenging neighborhoods, and we do job training and workforce development for teens and young adults who need their support.
Right.
Give Something Back has benefited us in so many ways,
Right.
but in this particular instance, they bridged a $500,000 loan so that we
$500,000
could, for 10 years, so we could buy the
$500,000.
building. Right.
That's a big number.
It was amazing.
And what did that conversation look like? Was it you asking for help? Was it them volunteering help? Was it them seeing the need?
A combination of all three.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
good.
so I think that we clearly had an eye on a building and we
Yeah.
were short. And we were in conversation with Give Something Back, Mike and Alma, about what an opportunity it would be. And then bit by bit, they were able to talk through it with their corporation and decide this is actually the kind of investments that they want to make, of huge change. I think, and I think from a business standpoint, you know, many people would say this is risky, this is all
Right.
of those other things. So just to have their confidence helped to change a lot of dynamics for us in going forward.
Yeah.
And then, frankly, to have it on our resume that we paid them back in full helps us in a million ways with our banking and our credit going forward.
Exactly what I was thinking. Pat and I see a lot of places from all over the world, Bangladesh, Haiti, and when someone like Give Something Back steps up and is so confident with that decision, and they don't take a second thought, and they just say yes, that puts on your credibility score a big check mark.
You know, our relationship just began with them employing tons of
you're
our
still-
teens.
Oh, really?
So
wow.
how we started working with Give Something Back is they were one of the biggest employers of our teens. And if you went around and Give Something Back staff, many of their adult leaders came through YEP system as a high-risk teen.
But
and so
That is amazing. So that, and you still work with Give Something Back,
yes,
right?
yes, they have some interns as we speak.
Give Something Back is fortunate to be the forefather of a rapidly growing movement today in the United States. The For Benefit Corporation movement is really taking hold. It is really an exciting area to be for millennials and clearly on the front of many, many people's minds today, which is using business as a vehicle for improving quality of life in communities.
Mike Hannigan and Give Something Back are treasured colleagues of ours. We are customers of Give Something Back, and in exchange, we are very honored that Give Something Back is a deposit customer of our bank. We do a lot of partnering with Mike and Give Something Back in terms of field building, speaking, just raising the rally flag for a new way of doing business and banking. Our bank was founded in 2007. It is a triple bottom line bank that serves social justice and environmental well-being at the same time that it's financially sustainable. It is a for-profit bank, but all of its economic rights are held by One Pacific Coast Foundation, which is mandated by its bylaws to reinvest profits in low-income communities and the environment that we serve. 95% of what we do, though, is make loans to companies and nonprofits who are meeting human needs in a way that's now socially just and environmentally sustainable. So that's very different in that we have this commitment to the triple bottom line, and our ownership structure, that dedication of all our profits to a nonprofit, is very, very unusual as well. In addition to it creating a virtuous cycle of reinvestment, it also eliminates the pressure of a private shareholder to insist that we maximize their profit at the expense of our other critical bottom lines. 75 to 80% of our loan outstandings are with transformative actors who we believe are furthering the mission. We work really hard that the 20 to 25% that's not in mission hands is not contra mission. It doesn't make any sense to us to sort of make a mess with one hand and clean it up with the other. So that does lead to some hard choices. We have very hard conversations. I think really it's that in some sectors, there are strategies that are not going to be successful in the long run, and we shouldn't support them now knowing that they're not leading us to a good place.
So you've turned down some customers.
We have. Yeah.
Sometimes the best deals are the deals you don't make.
Yes. Yeah.
The power in this country has always resided in where wealth is. And wealth is in the business community. And companies that are looking to use that wealth to improve quality of life, they do belong at the forefront of forward-thinking businesses, and to have such excitement around this direction in the economy is just amazing.
I come from a banking family. My grandfather was a person who built Crocker Bank, which is a very good regional bank, and he admired A.P. Giannini, the founder of Bank of Italy, then Bank of America, and he taught us that banking was a lot about relationship, being in relationship to your borrowers, your customers, your communities, and the environment. I didn't think I was going to be a banker. I thought I wanted to help in the civil rights movement, and to me, social justice and environmental well-being are critical components of civil rights. And it just so happened that the time I grew up, the civil rights leadership was recognizing that economic access and opportunity were really, really important fundamental platforms for civil rights.
The more money that we can make as a for-profit, the more money we turn around and donate to nonprofits. I primarily came here because of the values of the company. I was very lucky to have a choice in where I was employed, and I really searched high and low and targeted in on Give Something Back and wanted to be able to be associated with a company that really did some fantastic things in the community, and this one certainly does.
Every business is constantly trying to figure out how we can leverage resources that we've accumulated in our existence to provide additional benefits to our stakeholders. Now, every company does that. How do we offer do better for our stakeholders? Well, our stakeholder is the community. So we ask that question, is there anything we can do differently or better that'll provide a better outcome for our community? We have trucks that go out every day from our warehouses. They go out full, they come back empty. When they're coming back empty, they're still burning fuel. So we started thinking how we can use our empty trucks in a way that doesn't waste that fuel by having nothing accomplished as a result of just coming back to our warehouses empty. So we realized that one of the things our customers have, and we have a lot of, is old electronics waste. Old computers, printers, monitors.
The fax machine you have
all,
never used.
The fax machine, it's all sitting on our closets, it's under our desks.
Yeah.
And that stuff eventually ends up in landfill. So it creates an environmental hazard. So we felt like we could present our customers the opportunity to give us their e-waste. So what we did is we got ourselves certified by the state of California to pick up the e-waste from our customers, to be an e-waste.
Oh, you had to get permission.
You have to get permission to do that because there's some toxic stuff there, and there's some rules and regulations. So we're not a recycler, we're an e-waste collector. So we notified all of our customers that starting, whenever, when we make a delivery to you of products, we will also pick up your e-waste. And we notified them all. So suddenly, within months, we get pallets and pallets of old junky computers and old CRT monitors that are just huge, and vacuum cleaners occasionally, stuff you definitely want, stereos. And then we would bring it into our warehouse. It's put on our trucks coming back, doesn't cost us anymore. Comes back into our warehouse, and then we handed it off to the e-waste recyclers, the organizations that basically dismantle it, take out all the valuable parts, recycle it, keep it out of landfill. So that provided a huge service to our customers, a huge environmental benefit, and it didn't cost us anything. We just kind of added it on to our normal routine. So we leveraged our distribution system for this additional community benefit without any additional cost. And then that was stage one. Stage two is I happen to be aware of this organization that does job training for people with barriers to employment, people transitioning out of incarceration, people with limited language skills, people whatever. And their program, it's in Richmond, California, which is a very distressed community. Their program is based on recycling e-waste, electronic waste. So, they would train people to do electronics repair by taking stuff apart, putting it back together, whatever. And their limiting factor was they couldn't get hands on enough quality e-waste in order to grow their program.
Really?
So I was talking to this guy at some event, the guy who's the executive director of this place called the Reliatech, and I said, well, we have access to maybe a bunch of e-waste for you. So he came over to our warehouse and, he says, oh my God, this is gold to us. So now, so we took one of our older trucks out of service and we donated one of our older trucks to them because they really couldn't afford their own truck. And now they pick up all the e-waste from our dock, and it goes over, and I think they've tripled their organizational size by using our e-waste as the raw material for their training program. And then the other thing they do is they take all the e-waste and they try to create new products or usable products out of the parts or fixing the stuff.
Right.
And then they make those products available to low-income community residents who otherwise couldn't afford a computer or a monitor or something like that, or they give it to public schools. So benefit corporation laws have now been implemented in 22 states, I think.
I think that's right, and they'll be in every state.
Eventually they'll be in every state, but that's the first time in the history of the United States corporate law that a private business can identify a stakeholder other than investors, financial interests, and have those stakeholders be legally protected under the corporate charter. So that's kind of I think the most important latest development that acknowledges the growth and power of this kind of broad effort to use the power of business as opposed to the power of government or the power of philanthropy, the power of business to create wealth in a way that is responsible in measurable ways in relationship to the needs and its impact on the community.
The for-benefit legislation in the state of California really is a significant milestone for companies like Give Something Back. And the reason is not that it's going to change very much what we do. It's not. But what it allows for is for a business like Give Something Back to attract investors, like-minded investors that consider return on investment to both be return, but also community benefit. It allows for that type of investor to invest in a company like Give Something Back and help a company like Give Something Back grow. Give Something Back really is just about one simple thing, and as complex as the industry is, as alien as it was at first, this concept of taking care of customers and improving quality of life through community donations that we do, Give Something Back is simply about helping people. And I believe that that is one of the fundamental elements of human enlightenment and enlightened living. And I believe that that is becoming much more an important part of the way people in this country want to live every day.
And I think the great thing about it is that it's not just about us. Our success and viability was probably more important 20 years ago, but now we're part of a really sustainable movement that has its own legs.
Give Something Back is a for-profit corporation. It is not a charity. It pays market wages, and it's in a very ordinary business. It makes paper clips and paper. Nothing sexy about it. But what's different about this company is it gives away 75% of its profits to its local communities. But it is one of over 1,000 benefit corporations, and this movement is spreading all across the United States. Is this a new model for capitalism? That's the big question.
We've got to